He ruled an empire, commanded armies, and left Europe in ruins. But when Adolf Hitler died in 1945, one question lingered quietly behind the chaos. What happened to his money? Adolf Hitler did not begin life wealthy. Born in Austria in 1889, his early adulthood was marked by failure and poverty. He was rejected twice from the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts. He lost touch with his family. By the end of 1909, Hitler's inheritance dried up, and he fell into poverty. He was forced to live temporarily in a homeless shelter, and then in a men's home. He lived in cheap hostels, sold small watercolor paintings, and relied on soup kitchens. At this stage, Hitler owned almost nothing: no property, no inheritance, no financial safety net. His rise wasn't built on money. It was built on ideology, propaganda, and timing. Once in power, Hitler's finances changed dramatically, but not in the way many imagine. He did not draw a regular salary like other officials. Instead, his wealth came from royalties from Mein Kampf, millions of copies sold, often forced purchases; tax exemptions granted once he became chancellor; donations from industrialists eager to stay in favor; state-funded living, transport, and security. By the late 1930s, Hitler was a multimillionaire in Reichsmarks, though much of this wealth existed on paper rather than as cash. He did not live lavishly by dictator standards. No gold palaces, no private fleets. His power gave him access to everything, so money itself mattered less. When Hitler died in April 1945, his personal estate was surprisingly modest. He owned royalties owed from Mein Kampf, some personal items, limited bank assets. He did not possess vast hidden treasure, offshore accounts, or secret gold reserves. Those stories came later and lack evidence. Legally, Hitler named his sister, Paula Hitler, as his heir. However, the Allied authorities seized and froze all assets. Paula received no meaningful fortune and lived quietly on a small pension. Mein Kampf copyright passed to the state of Bavaria. Bavaria later used control of the book to prevent its publication for decades. Estimates suggest Hitler's total personal wealth at its peak might equal tens of millions in today's money, not billions. But the real legacy wasn't financial. His wealth vanished. Tracing his money became impossible. His power collapsed. Many of his personnel items were auctioned off later on, like his famous red telephone, but most of his wealth disappeared. The Kelstein House, his eagle's nest, situated atop the Kelstein, has been converted into a tourist site. Today, the building is owned by a charitable trust and operates as a restaurant, offering indoor dining and an outdoor beer garden. It is a popular tourist attraction due to its historical significance. All right, here's the big picture. He started his adult life in poverty as a struggling artist. At the time of his death, he was likely the richest author in Germany, not because people chose to buy Mein Kampf, but because the Nazi state forced it into millions of homes. He died a rich man, largely through exploitation of his image, book royalties, tax evasion, and the systematic plunder of conquered nations. But most of his money vanished into war chaos. His fortune didn't survive him. His power collapsed. But his damage remained. This is back in that day, where even the myths around power are stripped down to the truth history leaves behind.